Ladies and gentlemen,
We killed Austin.
we did it. We got rid of Austin.
Yep.
He's
Finally.
gone forever. Jeez Louise. Folks listening.
We don't need no young blood up in here.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Folks listening at home, I know you can't hear him. That's because he's not here. Austin's not here. And new listeners, don't worry
about it.
Don't worry about what we're talking about. Welcome to the Producer Lounge. This is episode 93. Yeah, 93. This is our show, the Producer Lounge.
That's right.
We're going to sit here and chat about music production. That's it. That is the sum total. Big sheesh. So yeah, that's, basically we're out here hanging out with the Mando center fucking table, and we're getting ready to, oh, dang it, he's risen from the dead.
Fuck. Oh, what's up, punk bitches?
But he didn't bring his headphones. Looks like he's dying again. So, Dave, how was your week?
Good on the music front. Slow on the work. That's fine. But on the music front, made some DMB.
Let's go.
Learning some lessons there. That is
I believe you.
Not a lot of space for mistakes in the DNB. You know what I'm saying?
Negatory.
There is very little space. It is so fast.
Time is flying by.
It's flying.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just...
It's a touchy, it's a fickle bitch, as they say.
Yeah, it's fairly... In this day and age of spice and all that kind of stuff, it's not necessarily...
Fickle Fitch.
It's not necessarily... oh, hi. It's not necessarily
Oh, it's back.
difficult to make. It's difficult to make well. Hang on, hold up.
It's difficult to make it cool. Like,
well, yeah.
like
Drum and bass?
Yeah, it's difficult to make well because everything is, right now, at this point, it's very difficult to make anything well.
Well, that's
everybody's
true.
like...
Yeah.
But I'd say
we've
drum and
been
bass
through
is still harder than
right. Oh yeah,
almost anything else.
It's one of the least touched out of all the genres. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We're deep enough though into the rabbit hole of all this music, this electronic music, that it is very hard to fucking make it really fucking good.
Dude, yeah,
Right.
even still.
And make it interesting. And then on top of that, like the make it interesting part, making it cool and different.
Unique.
Or have its own thing, because for the most part, people are just fucking rip ideas and formulas, and like, I will do that too. This
how
is
you
a
do
fun
the thing.
noise. Which
yeah, but that's kind of everywhere too.
Yeah. 18, I always talk about this theory that like nothing is truly original.
Well, no, it's not.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Good artists borrow, great artists steal,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. I can't remember what the exact quote is.
Yeah.
But that's basically it.
Good artists copy, great artists steal.
Yeah, there you go.
They copy.
Cappy.
Cappy.
Yeah, because fucking welcome to art. You can't
Yeah, nothing is original.
your beautiful piece of art. Yeah, it's a painting of mountains I saw.
Everything is original at the same time.
I know, isn't that weird, right? Yeah.
So who cares?
double whammy.
Don't worry about that. Don't put any pressure on.
Slap some shit together.
Just get it
There
going.
is you can be original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can.
It is possible to be original. Nothing is original. Sure. But also, you can easily be original.
Yeah.
You just have, well, I don't know about easily. But
In all of history and every song that has ever been made, like you made that one song and no one ever did. In a way, that's original.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
The wisdom from day 400.
Wisdom.
Time is a construct.
Oh, you threw some shades on?
Yeah, dude. I had to.
There is
fair.
no...
We're basically Shady Jones down here.
Dang. Shady Jones and I. Yeah, it's hard out there.
For a pimp.
But also just like... We've said this before on the podcast, like just actually I could jump off of this for a topic at some point. But just fucking make shit. Like if you're being honest with yourself, if you like reference somebody you know, trying to like make a riff that they made, like it's gonna be different. You're gonna make it different.
It
You're gonna
will
make
be
weird,
different, yeah.
You know, as long
Yeah.
as you're honest with yourself and you're like, oh, I want to make it cool and do my own thing, like then you'll do that. It'll be fine. It's gonna be great. So just do that. Just fucking calm down and just fucking make some shit and just keep fucking
calm
pumping
down.
shit out. That's how like dudes are prolific as fuck because they don't give a fuck and they just make a riff and they're like, that's cool enough for a song. And then they just make the song and then they keep going.
Yeah. Dude, fucking EOS, prime example. That dude, I feel like every time I hop on Instagram, he's like, oh, new song. Oh, part of this compilation. Oh, part of this thing. He's just prolific as fuck. I commented that. I was like, how the fuck you so prolific? And he
Dude,
commented
that guy's
back.
he's putting that shit out,
Well,
Yep.
that too.
you know?
Also that. He's
That-
at the
I mean,
level where it's like,
Putting stuff out does not make you prolific. It kind of makes you like
Well, yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
appear prolific.
that's true. That's true.
But
right. But if you're
sometimes you don't want to do that.
right,
I don't know. I think he's grinding it, which I appreciate, and
He's definitely grinding it.
I don't know. I don't think there is one like perfect path through
No.
this fucking maze of a industry. Like it's a nightmare.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you can't be here for the like just for the money or some shit. You got to like try to enjoy your art making the thing. That's the part that's actually worth anything.
Right.
Preach it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just make some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be that good if you don't approach it that way.
Yeah.
You might
right.
make money. You can you can go do the grind, and maybe for some people that is the fun of it. Is like, ooh, I'm gonna make a connection and like fucking
the Gary
like,
V's
meeting
of the music
people and-
world.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Those people do exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
See, the
Oh,
move
yeah.
is though
they're
you
very
just-
successful a lot of the
They're
time.
very successful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be homies with those people
Yep.
on a genuine level, but then they just get all the connections, and then if you're just genuine
there's-
friends with them, they hook you up with
Yeah.
all their
There's no
connections.
hate. There's no
Yeah.
hate. Like,
No.
be that person. If that's like the person you want to be. If you want to just go grind image and like, connections and networking and blah blah blah, like go for it. But not for me.
We got some homies like that.
I do it anyway, but
Right. I mean, at a certain point you have to, but also for those people, first to a certain point they have to produce.
Yep.
They have to get into the basement and grind. So,
Yeah. Got to make 400 tracks and then
you got to
make
do it
400
all,
more.
everybody.
right. Eventually you have to do it all. It's just what order and what is your specialization? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
your spec, bro?
Yeah. Are you
All my specs right
are
here,
you
dude.
you into that jujitsu? You wrestler?
Oh, shit.
You boxer?
Oh, shit.
Taekwondo? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, shit.
What are you saying?
I feel like Kim Kardashian
We all have our
right
specialties.
now, dude.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
What?
That's what. That's what.
What?
God damn it. those
like-
glasses are
I
kind
like
of
the
that
breaking
vibe.
the third wall of the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, look, always 400 is live.
Imagine choosing these glasses just because,
You thought they were sick?
just because you truly, truly thought you would be cool looking in them.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like you need to be a big dude with a wide face.
For those guys.
Oh, for these?
Oh, for what?
I was talking about for those.
Oh, for these.
Yeah, for those you need to be a big guy.
Man, you're gonna need a wide head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the earpieces go like this
Right,
way when
yeah.
you look at them head
I expected them to. I'm actually surprised.
on. Yeah.
It's all good.
Big ups.
I'm a motherfucking bug out here.
So
we bugging.
We bugging, dude.
how was everybody's week in the studs, huh?
Mm.
Anything
All right,
good?
right.
Yeah.
So I made drum and bass, and I fucking just sat there and fucking whittled the shit out of that thing. It was smash a bunch of shit against the wall. Now it sounds like liquid drum and bass. Now break it all down and try and like ultra simplify to make it sound like actual cool drum and bass. You know, not that
Right.
liquid isn't cool, but
No, but I
it's
understand.
just, you know, it's,
Well, it
it's
depends.
hot. What I mean, whatever.
Also depends. Like, are you trying to make a roller, or are you trying to make something like that's like got a broken beat? Like, there's so many different subgenres of drum and bass.
Right.
Like,
So many different ones.
there's
And I think I made a non-existent one
sick.
on some level.
Dude, that sounds about right. Yeah, I heard that one and I was like, this is just not existent anywhere. What am I hearing?
Yeah, my shit just sounds like me all the time.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's a fun level to be at. Like no matter what you touch, it's just like, oh yeah, that's a Dave track. You can hear it.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
That's fun.
It is nice.
Yeah.
It is nice. I appreciate it, and I lean into that shit. You know, just make it the way I want to make it. Make it like follow. This is some Rick Rubin shit. You know.
Let's go.
Just find the thing that you think is fucking sick as fuck, and trust.
Yep.
Yep.
Don't give a shit about the audience or your fan base. Just just be you.
Yeah. Like, obviously, I want it to work with drum and bass. But I think, drum and bass is not hard to mix. It's just breakdown. It's dubstep.
I know. Yeah, right.
It's just breakdowns.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And even
every once in a while, get tricky with it.
not even that, you can like, because it's moving so fast, you can not even break down. Like,
True.
where the breakdown is of one, guess what? That's the drop of the next one.
Dude,
and there's
yeah.
losing bass, and what's happening now? It's the drop.
Yeah.
Like, you can just constantly just do that.
The track AC was just showing us. We were talking about that in the garage. Like their breakdown, instead of it going like fully to zero, like he kept the beat in and kept some energy in, so it just dips a little.
Oh, sure.
And then it just slowly went up, and you're like, oh, that was the
You just
we're
do
back
an
into
energy.
it?
Yeah, you just do an energy adjustment.
Plus,
Yeah,
it's
for a
up,
second.
and it's
Sick.
just up for the DJ to like lose the bass and like remove the energy from one track into the
Or
next
just
track.
hit the fucking impact of the next one.
Yeah, sure, just hard.
Right.
Yeah. Punk cut it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
That's cool though. Good week.
Done with mine.
Sick.
Move on. Either of you.
My week was tight. Just like my drums.
Oh.
Sheesh.
Wow,
that was quite the fumble.
Wow. Thanks, guys.
Freudian even.
That's fair.
Fumbled like the Super Bowl did.
Yeah, it was good. I also am working on a drum and bass track, oddly.
Really?
I was
like
working
drum and bass, dude?
Yeah, I was working on a techno track, but there's excess vocals from your drum and bass track that I was like, I guess I'll use them and make a drum and bass track.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so,
I mean, how could you? I mean, I twisted your arm on the drum and bass
a little
too.
bit.
You know?
Did you?
A little bit. I mean,
It's not hard.
Any excuse for me to
not
make drum
hard.
and bass. No, any excuse.
Yeah.
Like, should we make a party beat drum? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
All
I'm
right,
doing
we're
it.
good.
Boom. So, started fiddling with that. Mine's definitely a little more roller, but I do want to do some like choppiness to it at some point. But it's still too early.
Shut up, Baco. Baco.
Do we know about
What's up, buddy? Yeah. This is
Oh,
yeah. Twitch homie of mine.
What's up,
I think
dog?
I know
nice.
him a little bit more, but he's been in streams for sure.
We're talking about drum and bass stuff in here.
Yeah, we are nerds. We're very big nerds. That's what the show is.
So
The Nerdcast.
I started slapping shit to this drum and bass track together. Started doing a layout too on the techno track, although it's kind of stalled at the moment. I need vocals before I can go anywhere. It sounds cool. It just sounds like really minimal techno.
Yep.
It's fine. It sounds clean, I think. There's no bass in it yet. It just got like techno rumble, which is fine. But I digress. It was good. My week was swell.
Let's go.
Very nice.
Yep.
That's how it's done, man.
How about you?
I had a good week. I also happened to be on a drum and bass kick.
Oh my goodness.
Weird enough.
What do you do when across the wall you just hear fucking?
Exactly, yeah.
You're like,
And your song sounded so good. Like I only heard like low mid, low end, but I was just like,
it's a bouncy.
yeah, constantly. And there was like, God damn, Dave. Yeah, so I was also working on a drum and bass track. And funny enough, I went into it with the intention of doing like a halftime style track. I did like
Right.
90 BPM. And then like I was telling you, I just threw in a break on the build up section just to give it a little more energy. And it just felt so good. And I was like, no, this track has to go in this direction. It's so good.
We're double timing this. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh my God. And it worked out. And it's so funny too, because to circle back around to somewhat what we were talking about earlier.
Circle back away.
Circling back. I was I made this drum and bass track, and like it sounds cool. It's a fun track, it's a vibe, and I was like, damn, like I can actually like do this drum and bass thing. Like weird, okay. And then I threw in a Noisia track into the same session and just like tried to A/B and be like, okay, like what is actually happening? And it was just like night and day. And I was like, oh yeah, that's how you actually do it. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I have the weird little great value off-brand version. It's still good.
Dude, they do that to everybody else in the scene.
Yeah.
Almost. Like Caleb and I, we talked about it on the pod. We went to a drum and bass night at a venue that we find to be very fucking muddy venue. Yeah. We are always disappointed in the amount of sub and how it just is like it's a fucking flurry of sub. Not for Noisia.
No.
We're listening to fucking drum and bass all night, and then a Noisia song comes on, and we're like, oh, sick Noisia. And then it's just like the room
just tightens
bows to the fucking speakers.
Oh, that's
like the room just goes,
put it.
It tightens up, and
it's
just
so sick.
The air is like tightly, perfectly doing all the movement it needs to do.
Oh my God.
It's fucking
gross.
Doable.
It's doable.
Like, that's the thing.
You have a mountain peak to reach for, to shoot for kind of thing. It's going to be a long journey, but also I love that. The room bows to the speakers from Noisia.
I think it's just time and fucking energy trying to make shit loud and tight.
Loud while staring at an
oscilloscope,
so you know your waveform's just constantly in phase the whole time. There's
go
no
take
weird
a fucking Noisia song, drop it into your DAW, and just look at the way things look, and then try to replicate something that looks like that. And so it's very simple. Big sign-looking things are low end, and the smaller the little things are, the little movements are, the higher it is. And then you just fucking pay attention to that shit. You know?
Shit's so wild.
It's so wild.
I remember when we did a bunch of unbelievable.
Every podcast lately.
Unbelievable right now.
Oh no.
Can't figure out how to turn his volume off on his phone.
Oh my God.
Sorry, fucking Noisia was texting me.
Kim.
Sorry, Nick, you're going to have to wait.
I remember when we were...
silence your phone, please. Thank you.
When Caleb and I were grinding on mixing, because we spent a really good chunk of time
still are
together. Yeah, we're still there, but like we dove in headfirst with like a mindset and together, you know, working together to try and figure out how to make shit loud, and we got friends and stuff too that know better than us, so we have people to talk to. But you're gonna have to piece this shit together for yourself at the end of the day. Like you're gonna have to trial and error some things, and you know, you can't just take advice. It doesn't work that way.
No.
You have to fucking like
figure it out.
Nose to the grindstone. Like, how do you figure it out? Exactly.
Figure it out.
But yeah, I remember when we were analyzing tunes, trying to figure it out. Yeah. It helped so much just to look at a waveform of a really nice song and see like, oh, kick, bass, one unit of a waveform when they hit together, just doom, and it just being fat and fucking until it stopped. And
dude,
it wasn't just like this wandering
that and
vibe of a thing.
Yeah,
printing everything to audio so that you can chop off tails.
You always look.
You think shit's, you're like, oh, the MIDI note ends there. Don't care.
Yep.
Don't care how dry it is. Flatten that shit and you'll see a little you'll see a little thing, and all those little add up and kill your headroom, kill your fucking mid-range.
Hugely.
Like, it's bad.
Dude, even if you automate a volume, at least in Ableton, you guys were helping me with that one track the other day, and I was saying like, oh no, it's good. I didn't print it because I automated everything. And you were like, nah, dude, still is probably not good enough.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? No, come on. And I went through later that night and like just printed everything. And little tails somehow still
little
just
squiggles.
fucking, yeah.
Well, that and if you print it to audio and just chop it manually, you're saving buku's amount of processing instead of automating a bunch of utilities at the computer.
Yeah,
to
and
think about
effort
all the time.
automating.
Yeah, sure.
You're going to have to kind of automate it anyway, but like just do it in the fucking little...
The way you just said that. Automated.
Do a little fucking... Like,
ew.
so I hate it so much. I really hate automating.
I love it.
I do it plenty, but like,
Yeah.
I fucking... I don't know.
I
don't do it as much as a lot of people I know.
I like simple stuff, but I hate like making a bass sound and then like mapping a bunch of shit to macros and then just automating everything to death. I'm like, oh, it's like when I first started. It's like 2015 dubstep tutorials, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't like it. I know it can be done without this. Set
Yeah.
up a bunch of random knobs and let them just do their work.
right. And you can build into that with the concept of just flattening and moving forward, like committing to an idea. You can start out with your like
telling you
bass sound, automate a couple little things, reverb throw, whatever, and then flatten it, and then everything's gone. It's printed. Then you chop it, do whatever.
right.
Then
And
maybe
it's-
you need an extra little processing.
One, it's not that hard to remake that sound most of the time.
Also
like
that.
the
True.
sound
True.
you're always so scared
No.
about is usually not that scary.
I know,
And
right?
two, like the second time you make it, you'll probably do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also keep the fucking patch
Just
and all the shit.
disable it,
Disable it, leave it there.
freeze it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like what I used to do in Ableton is freeze, and then I would just Control-Shift-T or Control-T, whatever it is in
Control-T.
Ableton, to make a new audio track, and then I would just drag
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it
just drag it
down,
down.
and then just
Yeah.
either delete the frozen track or
Mm-hmm.
put it away or whatever.
Man, what a
Yeah.
shame.
Yeah,
Because Bitwig, you just push a button
and they all
and
disappear.
it disappears.
Yep.
And then when you want it back, you push a button and it comes
And there's no
back.
freeze.
And it stays where it was in the order of things.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane.
Which is like so epically helpful to me
It's
a lot of the time because I'm like, oh, I need this other patch.
I know
that
it was
I
5
built.
up or whatever.
It's next to where the audio is
Right.
usually that I
Sure.
printed. So I just undo it and then I'm like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I will make these changes. And then you can drag that audio straight into what you've already created as an effects chain for the thing. And you can reuse your whole effects chain,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which is
Sure.
beautiful. It's a lovely time. Dropping shit into a already created effects chain is so fun.
yeah. Just dropping in. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Especially when it's all been goosed to
Yeah.
high heaven. So it's all just fucking going
Mhm.
wild.
Yeah,
Start throwing in
just throw a fucking
snare drums in it.
volume at the beginning and adjust it to what it needs to be, and then
Right.
like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time.
Hits the little.
I'm so
spots.
excited to see like when Bitwig becomes like one of the like really big strong contenders for the DAWs, you know? Because right now everybody knows like the main ones.
Becomes.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Hold on. It's Bitwig is well on its way. All the people who like know their shit know Bitwig and are basically already in Bitwig, like fucking Noisia already in Bitwig, Party B already in Bitwig. But it's still not like it's not a staple yet. But when it becomes like which DAW do you use? Ableton, FL, or Bitwig? Like
Right.
That's gonna be fun.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't like your wording.
Yeah,
At the beginning where you said
no,
it isn't
I think that's fair.
isn't a competitor, because it is a competitor.
It is. But when I said
It's-
strong competitor.
It is a strong competitor.
Okay, no, I guess my phrasing.
It's just
was
not
the
the
best.
It's
fucking-
better.
It
beats it.
Yeah.
When it becomes
It's just not Tom Brady. It hasn't been.
okay, yeah. When
Ableton-
it becomes a mainstream competitor, that's what I tried to say with strong.
It's not. The name isn't as strong. That's for sure.
The name sucks
The
dick.
name. No.
Name sucks dick.
What?
Bitwig.
Ableton
You see these-
Ableton's not good either. Yeah. Neither is FL Studio or Cubase or Reason. Like, no DAW is like, that's a sick name.
No, I like Bitwig. I also like
Bitwig's the
Cubase.
best. Yeah, Cubase is cool.
Yeah. I think they're like fine. They're not bad. I just think they're like fine.
Dude,
Cubase is cool.
Cubase is sweet.
It's true.
I've never worked. Actually, that's not true. I have worked on it.
I've worked with it.
I've worked with it.
Have you really?
Yep, my old buddy, who I
weird.
lived with. Shout out Scotty Giglio.
Scotty.
Scotty.
Big Scott.
Yeah,
Scotty.
we used to use it in the studio when I was in bands back in the day. There's like
Yep.
a little
Yep,
studio
that's-
that a friend had. It was like a shed, and there's
Sick.
like a little control room with a
Yep.
vocal booth, and then like a place where you could put a band,
Sick.
and we would record all our band music back in there.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was great. And we were using Cubase, and we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like-
It's funny to look back.
We were constantly
Yeah.
calling over the guy that lived there to be like, what's going on? Why can't we get this to work? And he'd just be laughing and be like, oh, you got to do these things. And
It's so
How do I
weird.
record
he'd be
this
like
channel?
patching,
yeah.
You're like patching up microphones and
Yeah.
like
So funny.
we don't have to deal with that very much.
No,
But-
but even
I mean, we know it,
Right.
obviously.
now,
Yeah. Now we know everything.
we
Which is
have
why
a
we
podcast
started a
about it.
podcast.
Look,
Jesus.
we have a pod about this. You
Look,
can only do that
Guys.
if you know all the things.
Right? Yeah.
Before that, you don't get to have a pod.
You're not allowed on YouTube unless you have the credentials.
Right,
We had to
exactly.
send in our creds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long process.
It's a very long process.
Yeah.
yeah, intense application.
I was barely allowed in. They squeezed me in because of you guys, and they were like,
Yeah,
okay,
we
he's
put in
on his
a-
way, but
Yeah, luckily, my great aunt.
We're his
brothers,
co-signers.
yeah.
Yeah, well, let's
they
just say
they
that.
put the good word in, and I was lucky enough to get this spot.
Right.
There was a lot of people signed up for it.
Right.
Right.
All right, have we reached a restart point?
On
Oh
that,
yeah, that was my week.
On that note,
That's good.
I want a quick aside
Okay,
from
quick aside.
Oh,
From-
Assad.
from chat.
Aside.
Let me
Quick aside. Quick aside.
quick aside, dude. From chat, I'm gonna use this microphone because I don't have glasses.
Whoa, Baco going hard.
Baco's talking about Wave Observer, which is a free plugin.
Never heard of it.
I assume it's an oscilloscope of some kind.
Right.
But the aside there, I had to use it to get close over here because I can't see.
right. No, I get it.
And now it's kind of fun.
What are you, blind or something, dude? Jesus.
I'm wearing. Yes, I'm wearing
Technically, right
sunglasses.
now he is
Dude,
pretty fucking blind. Not
How
glasses
rude.
and sunglasses.
folks. Any way to observe your stuff? As you can see, what's below us. This is called mini meters. If you don't know, now you know. It's one of the cheapest and best and most customizable fucking
And we are
analyzing
connoisseurs.
plugins ever.
So,
I
you know
fucking love
he's telling you the
analyzing
truth there.
plugins. That's true.
Very good.
And then Baco goes on to say, for some reason, for some of us, it's still 2015. LOL.
Here's all his comments on our chat. So
Let's
far.
go.
I hate that flattening a track in Ableton deletes the MIDI. It doesn't, sir.
No, see, I
So-
like that.
Oh, true.
So what we were just talking about
like
is
that.
you freeze it,
You freeze it.
and then below that frozen channel, before you flatten it, you just make a new audio channel, and then click drag that frozen MIDI channel
Control
into that.
click. If
Yeah,
you want to
copy.
maintain the
What did I
MIDI.
say?
Copy drag.
You just said click drag, which you can
Oh,
do.
click drag.
but it'll-
I meant control
Control
drag.
drag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Control drag, control dag.
Control
My
dag
mouth-
it, dude.
Control jag.
My mouth is not working.
Dude.
Control drag that MIDI file that's frozen into the audio file or audio track,
Channel, yeah.
and boom, you keep both.
Yep.
Um,
Win-win.
you guys always hype Bitwig, of course.
Always.
FL and Fruity Loops originally, same here. Don't worry, no shame. Yeah, all DAW names suck. That's true. They need to make something cool, like recording
Fucking
for fucking men.
epic fantasy maximal creation studio.
Lightning cunt.
Lightning cunt. Version
Kind of like
3.
Thunder
Thunder
name,
Cunt,
right?
though.
Yeah.
And it needs to be like
Thunder pussy. Yeah, no, I know. I thought of thunder pussy first. It guys.
That would be
I see.
insane.
This is This is just reality. You ask me to think of a
So-
cool name for a thing. The first thing that comes to my mind
It's what it is.
Thunder Pussy.
Thunder Pussy. I would use Thunder
Apparently,
Pussy.
that's one of the coolest names in my head. I didn't
good.
realize that, but I'm okay with it. It is a good name.
Quick shout out before my clock. Oh, never mind.
Sounds like a Party B track in the making.
It was 808 there for a second.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And
well,
now
our
it's-
clock says 808, so we'll count it.
Sure. The official
so
clock.
what I actually wanted to segue to
Mm.
was this topic I have here about reference.
Talk to me.
Well, you made some
Ooh,
notes.
reference.
And I had an interesting thing that got brought up by UBK that I was listening to that he brought up referencing for mixes.
UBK Happy Fun Time Hour.
Shout
the
out.
podcast. Go
Shouts.
listen to it.
Go listen to it. UBK Happy Fun
Go
Time
listen
Hour.
to every single one of them.
It's spelled like you think
It's
it would.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what he was saying in their podcast is if you're referencing, like if you're trying to mix your track or mix somebody else's track, and he's kind of coming from a band perspective, but it doesn't really matter in this case, in a lot of other cases. He basically said you can reference, but kind of what's the point? Like the longer you listen to like everyone else's mixes and stuff, like there's a couple parameters you need to pay attention to.
Interesting.
But other than that, like this guy's track has the vocal buried and it still hits number one. This guy's track has a vocal that's all up front
What
and
a
super clean, and it also hits number one.
He would.
Right, and it kind of makes
Such
sense.
a funny thing for him to say.
Right,
Oh my
right,
God.
of course.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair point, but
Right.
that leads me into my philosophy for reference, because I think it's still good to reference as long as you understand what you're referencing for. Reference.
Philosophy for reference.
So-
All right. I'm guessing this is a working
It is, but I've already kind of like.
description.
Yes, the working description. We'll wait till fucking Dorf gets back over here. But Doofusdorf. Yeah.
Dwarf.
No, not dwarf. Dorf.
Door.
Yeah. Doofusdorf.
Some kind of Harry Potter shit or something.
Nope. Something my mom would say when I was a kid. Doofusdorf.
Doofusdorf. All right.
Shout out my
Tickled
mom.
me. In shout out his mom. Yeah, indeed.
So this reference philosophy I've
Mhm.
developed over the last, say, century.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, it'd be cool if he was back by now. But trying to stall for time
Maybe
here.
he's taking a shit. You know,
That's a real bummer. You should take shits before the podcast, not
it
during
would be
the podcast.
amazing if he just took a fucking 20-minute shit
That'd be so
mid
funny,
pod.
hilarious.
Just okay.
Now I'm tempted
I
just
gotta
to go on. God damn it. We could talk about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we could talk
oh.
about.
I think he just flushed the toilet.
Here's the thing. Before we get into it,
Okay.
here's what
Go.
I brought with me from my drum and bass
Beautiful.
antics this weekend. So I stacked all my percussion, and I kind of alluded to this in the beginning, but I stacked all my percussion up to where I had a beat that was very full. It was mixed well together, you know. It had I had a couple shakers
Mm-hmm.
that fit well together on, you can hear them both.
Right.
And
right,
then
right.
a couple different hi-hats that if they were all happening at the same time, you could hear them all at the same time. And then a little stabs and random little perk things.
Sure.
But in the end, what I found out was I need to get rid of almost all of that shit. But how nice is it to have something that all works really well together if you do play it together?
Right.
So if there is a little bit of bleed of things happening at the same time, it works. And also when you hear this hi-hat and then this hi-hat, they sit in different places in that
Right,
mix.
Right.
So you're getting
Right.
You know,
Little-
you're getting
little
like
bits kinda
they're
all
coming
over.
at you in different places, so you can.
Yeah, it's fun.
It feels better.
Right.
It feels
right.
things are moving around in your mix.
Right. You got a
that
more
way.
well the typical thing would say you that you have a more dynamic stereo space.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I feel like there's another word for it beyond that. But basically,
I mean,
yeah.
well said anyway.
Oh, well, thank you. Now that Austin's
All right.
rejoined the podcast,
Now that he's done
from
taking
his
a fucking
hour poop,
shit.
Jesus Christ! And then
Oh yeah,
dude.
the toilet's clogged.
I was like
you're gonna have to deal with that.
I was about to get into a fucking whole thing, and you just immediately left. I was like,
I know. I had. To,
I
I,
guess-
knew
I
it
guess
was.
I'll
It
wait.
was. It was either there or I have to wait 15 minutes for us to like go through it, and I had to. I'm sorry, but I'm here now. I
supposed
made
to do
it.
these P's before the podcast.
He was prairie dogging.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
No, wait,
You
I
know.
didn't shit.
No, you shit.
The people saw that was way too quick.
He shit.
He denied it.
He shit. So, referencing.
God.
Reference philosophy.
The philosophy for referencing by Caleb.
I usually have like in a perfect world I would have 3 tracks for every track
Okay.
that I reference. And a lot of times it's not I have to drag 3 tracks into the DAW. Like usually here we'll just start. There's the pre-reference or the pre-cum.
Oh, I like that name.
Yeah. The during, you know, or the business, as I like to call it.
Ooh.
And then the climax.
No. Then you
Oh.
have the post, or what I like to call the cigarette.
The post note clarity.
Yes.
I see.
So you have the pre-cum,
Wow.
the business, and the cigarette, right?
I don't know if this order works out, but we're really pre-coming really early
No.
in this
What are you talking about? Yeah, you edge real quick, and then you get
Before
down
it
to
even
business.
begins.
So,
Your first thought, and you're like, oh.
All right,
yeah,
I like it. All right, so
So-
talk to me about the pre-cum.
So
What are you
what
looking for?
the pre is, it's just any track that inspires you to make the track. That's just all that references. It's just whatever track you're listening to that you're like, oh, sick, that gives me an idea I want to do. Or if you love the track that somebody put out and you're like, I want to make a track like that. Or like whatever. Any track that like inspires you before, try and remember what that was. So you can like go back and be like, what was cool about it that I thought was neat and that I want to grab out of it. Like I constantly heart and unheart stuff on Spotify just so it brings it up to the front of my liked songs. So when I get home, I can like check what are the liked songs that I've liked recently.
Right?
Spotify pro tip.
Are any of them references or pre-cum references?
Right. Are these
tracks.
pre-cum worthy?
Yeah. And so I'll listen and
Yeah.
sometimes they won't be by the time I get home, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, yes.
Yeah, right.
And I don't need to bring them into the DAW. It's just like something to be like, okay, cool, it's got a vibe. Then we get to the business.
All right, pure inspiration is the pre-cum.
Right, precisely. But the caveat or the nugget is to figure out a way to save them so you can listen to them again and again and again whenever you
Right,
need
put
to
them
like
somewhere.
remember the like little spark that sparked it all.
Mhm.
So
Maybe
you
it's like a
don't, so you don't lose
like
your
a
way.
really cool bass line in there.
right
Or like the
Right.
drum beat does a thing that you like, or you're interested in the way it's mixed, or the vocal sounds.
Right. And you could just fucking write this down in notes
Totally, yeah,
on
you
your
could do
phone.
that.
Like who cares? Just some way
Yes.
to where you can find it again, pull it up, and like listen and be like, oh yeah, that still is cool. I wasn't just drunk, or
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Then you have the business, which is the during reference, and for me that is nothing but a layout. Which a lot of times I don't need this because I already know like what I want to do
Right.
for a layout.
Right.
But I did this for years
You should too.
where I had tracks.
That's such a good
and
way
I
to
would
go.
any track that I liked that I was just like, this hits cool and it does cool things. I would just download it and bring it into the DAW and just make a MIDI skeleton out of it and like label every MIDI track. There's no MIDI in it. It's just empty boxes.
Potentials.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're not even meant to be filled. It's just meant to be looked at and like seeing as to like, oh, this is where they brought in the hi-hats, this is when they brought in these things, this is where they had a sweep,
Yeah.
and this is like the breakdown.
Dude,
and so
I
you
used
can
to do that
see
so
everything.
much.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my god.
you can do that, or you can do just using the little bookmark things at the top or whatever to do kind of a similar thing.
Super
Yeah.
simple version.
Right.
Where you're just like intro.
But that helps you like
Groove.
lay out a loop so much faster. Like you can
Right.
get out of like
Right.
what people call like the loop stage, which I don't think is a thing if you've referenced a bunch of tracks in this way where you're constantly like laying things out in a faux kind of way. You're just like practicing visually where
Right.
things happen.
Right.
So then when you have a loop, you're like, oh, I can just do this for 8 bars, and then I know I can do this for 16 bars, and then I can do this for 8. And
Right.
then once it's kind of laid out, then you can start detailing everything, and it's
Yep.
much easier to get out of a loop. So that's the during reference. That one I, again, don't always need or doesn't always happen. But back in the day, that used to be a staple.
Very important.
Until I figured out how to like just lay things out inherently. Yeah, it's fucking huge, and I'll still do it a lot of times. I'm doing it on the techno track right now,
Right,
just
right.
because I wanted to
Yeah.
figure
Yeah,
out.
if you
like,
switch genres,
it's huge. Yeah.
or you're looking into like, okay, I'm piecing these genres together. Okay, well, what are the things? What's
Right.
carrying the like the format, the formula of the progression of it?
Right.
If you're making, like the drum and bass track I'm making has a lot of like house music, kind of like
Aesthetics
in there.
or whatever. Yeah.
It feels that way a little bit because we've made so much house music. So I'm going to make things sound a little bit like house music, but my house music doesn't sound like house music. So.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
But it has that like aesthetic to it a little bit
Right.
that doesn't feel like what drum and bass typically feels like.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to blend.
But drum and bass is the thing that's carrying the format of the tune.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Sure.
You know?
The
The
arrangement.
house is the maybe flavor of
Yeah.
some things. And then the drum and bass is, it's at that speed.
Right.
I'm
So
going to
it's-
need to make it.
Right. You're going to need
in
to
a
format
format.
it. Right.
Yeah.
And why kid yourself and try and like sure, you can listen to a track and be like, oh, you can just sit there and think about it like, okay, they do this for this song and this song and this song. When, you have a program that's built for this. So you can just like download it however and just drag it in there, and then you can like bookmark things. So you can like sit there and practice and see how all the best people lay
Yep.
out their tracks. And you can see the difference between a VIP and a club mix and a radio edit like real easily when you're like, oh, they just killed, 64 bars of this, or they moved this around, and you can like kind of play
Yeah.
around and investigate.
Yeah. It's great on the macro of like just song layout, and it's great on the micro when you go to, is that another thing?
Yeah.
Micro.
It
Yeah,
depends.
totally.
What do you
Grand scale,
What do
small
you about
scale.
to say?
Smaller scale things like
Yes.
bass.
Yes. Yep.
Or hi-hats,
Then you are
or
correct.
snares,
Yep.
or lead sound,
Right.
or whatever.
'Cause
If
all-
you do a MIDI layout and you just look at like, when do they have the lead in, and when do they change it, and then when does blah, 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 and you just lay it out accordingly to a song that you really like, it will be, if you do that a lot, it's going to be super fucking helpful. I've done that so many times.
Right.
So many times.
And
While you're learning,
excuse me, a micro
So good.
version of that would bring in your favorite break, and then
Super micro, yeah.
investigate where the snares, the off snares, are happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that,
Totally.
What's the swing?
And then just mark them,
Mhm.
and then put in your snares, and then you're like, oh, sick! Look, it does
Yeah.
the same thing.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Like,
many times I've done that too.
I've had to do
Drag
that.
a break in
I still do that
and then copy
all
the
the time.
break.
Yeah.
All the time. I'll just like put my own shit in there, just figure out where the swing is, and then adjust it if I have like my own bass riff already happening that doesn't agree 100%. You kind of
Yeah,
adjust it,
sure.
goose it
Oh,
around.
you gotta goose it around.
But like,
Let's say you're just making the break at this point though, and then
Yeah,
you can
just
go
copy
from
it.
that point to be like, okay, let's say I just want to dick around and like see what other potentials of a break I could make. Just switch like 2 of the elements around.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
all
take
the
that
time.
snare right there and the hi-hat, just switch it and like brand new groove.
Or
Still
like-
probably grooving.
Or halftime, just one
I like that.
Oh, that's
thing
good.
or the other.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit's super fun.
Yeah. Or just delete an element. Let it
Yeah.
breathe for a
Yeah.
sec. See how
Especially
that adds.
Kick drums. Delete kick drums, folks.
Dude.
If you're not making house,
Ooh, less is more.
That's
with
a
kick drums.
great-
yeah, dude. If you're not
Oh.
making house and techno and shit, delete kick drums.
That's actual. That's actual knowledge right there. Everybody.
That's a huge.
That's a
nug.
gem.
That's
Everybody
one of my
remember that.
favorite
And-
nugs.
And
Yeah.
just go reference.
Yeah.
Okay,
Check it out. Find out if people do a lot of fucking kick drums in their songs. They don't.
do you want to hear the cigarette part
Yes.
of the
Oh, yeah.
reference
Yeah.
philosophy here? The post. All
Okay.
right, we'll end it on this one, right? So the post reference. This is where all the sauce starts coming in. This is when I slightly disagree with UBK, although I also agree with him in just
Yeah.
the sense where there is a song out there that has the sonics and has the spectrum quality that I fucking
That
want
you wanna-
with my
Mhm.
song.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to reference him in the mixing stage heavily. And I might even bring in 3 different references where one has the drums I like. One has a synth that really is similar to the synth in mine. Everything else doesn't really matter. It just has the synth sitting where I like my synth to sit. And then a third reference is just the bottom end that I just have like low pass and I just reference the just reference the bottom end and that's it.
Yeah.
But this is like where I reference almost every time is I'll usually try and find something that has like somewhat of sonics that I'm looking for. And I can go in.
God bless you.
I'd got to say it's a less more. It's like one in every other track. It's like every other track I'll use a reference.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ones where I just don't, and I can just mix it. And I'm like, actually, it sounds good, and it just sounds good the way it is.
One in every other track, you use a SIG reference?
I just use
Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then
You got to keep up, chat.
right.
So these SIG references are sauce in that manner because they've helped me kind of hone like where to use my tools for mixing. Because at this point, I'm a confident mixer, but I don't always necessarily know when to use certain tools. And it's nice to reference to be like, oh, they don't have any high end in anything but the vocals during these sections. And then it comes back. So there's like little things you're like, oh, let me try and transfer the energy from the high end into mid range because this really cool guy comes
Right.
in that could act as that
Yeah.
vocal. And let me see if that helps move the energy in a certain way. And it might not work, but that's why I'm like referencing and like trying a bunch of different ideas because I haven't listened to enough music referencing on the mix like that hardcore to the point where I get all these subtle changes that fucking dudes are doing like really neat little things in their mix that you don't hear.
Yeah.
But
You wouldn't hear
helps-
like the first time through.
You shouldn't.
But helps
Yeah.
set
You shouldn't
but it
hear it.
helps set them
Yeah.
apart from other things and it's little things where you're like, "Oh, hadn't they done that, it would have been muddy and this would have happened or he would have had to change his kick drum because of this and that, but because he panned this and just panned this or whatever, all this works out."
Yeah,
and so you can kind of like pick all these little bits up and
That's where
fucking-
automation comes in, or just make a new channel. Have this for this section, the same hi hat, but it's low passed.
that exact thing happened. I was looking at his track.
Yes, Caleb.
Uh,
Sorry, I'm too slow.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, no.
Austin was showing me a track, and he had a bit for the snare. It was a cool little flam kind of thing.
double ploink,
A
like
little
early
prunk,
snare hit.
Yeah.
Kinda thing, yeah.
It's called a flam, right?
It's called a
Yes.
double
Yes.
ploink.
No, it's a flam.
Is it actually called a flam?
Yes,
Yeah, it's the
It's called a flam.
Yeah.
I never knew
Bruh.
that.
flam.
bruh, bruh,
Wow.
with the gah,
Yeah.
Flamming, okay.
Yes.
Not
Yeah, it's a
hitting at the
certain
same
thing
time,
with
but
the
just off.
snare. Yeah, it's sick when you like hit it just right when you're fucking just jamming.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
So he had that happening as a excuse me, transient on one of his snares, and it was loud as fuck. Couldn't really tell at first. Like we had listened to it for a couple minutes before I was even like, wait a minute, this thing's throwing out the mix like weird, because every time that thing happens, it's like every 4 snares, it's happening 3 times. So it's not every snare, but it's like just enough to change and then come back, and I'm like, wait a minute, that now it seems weird.
Yep.
So we went and investigated, and it was a little bit of a snare that was happening on a channel which further back had snare fills and like other kind of percussive things happening.
That should be louder in the mix.
Right. So all those fills and stuff are fine. It's just now this snare needs his own duplicated, dedicated channel, basically. So this is where you would just like fucking, who cares? Just duplicate, delete all the fills, and then delete what it is on the top chain, and now he gets his own channel. You turn him down, you do all the things accordingly. Which back in the day, if you didn't have enough channels, you would then automate a little fucking gain down or whatever. That's fine.
Like this.
It's poor souls.
Whoa.
Dude. I think
that's automating back in the day. Yeah. You just record it.
Yeah, you
and then they just
it.
push the volume up.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of simple stuff that it's kind of easy to gloss over because we're lazy creatures. Like I do it all the time. Don't worry. Like I just like that's why I spend a lot of the times sitting with just my drums and like just a bass or whatever, and just really sitting there and like trying to focus on everything and like get a grip onto what the fuck's happening and focus on everything before I even introduce chords. Like I just fucking sit there with as simple as possible, make sure it's vibing, because I know I'm going to want to add things, but if I don't give myself a lot of things to add from the get-go and I strictly make myself only 5 variations or whatever, then it's like I know it's not going to get out of hand. And I know everything's got its own little spot.
Totally.
As I say this, I know I don't do this every time.
Yeah.
So don't worry, folks. I understand.
Well, here's what you do. Like
it's a struggle.
In this D&B tune, I had a bass line that was kind of fucking busy in that like it's moving around and it's doing weird rhythms and things. And then I have a fairly busy kick drum going.
Sure.
And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, how do I fix this? I don't want to do it, but I just have to do this right now. So I solo kick, bring that bass channel, that sub channel right next to the kick drum, and fucking stare at them together and play a little section, and then just be like, okay, where is it fucking up? What is losing the vibe? And I found like there's a little pre-bass like right before a kick where it's like a ba-doom, and it was causing some phasing. I could have probably flattened and then like chopped it to make it, but I just got rid of that bass line, that bass note right before the kick, and I swear to you, 0 difference.
Right.
Other than the kick now works.
Right.
And like there's so much other shit happening in this thing, so it's like, okay, it just needs to go. You know, so then I'm like, man, now I will delete all of these. And then I'm looking over at another part where I have a like kind of dragging rhythm happening, which I like to do. Like you do a like a da 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 if you're doing a beat, like where you kind of do like a fun
dotted eighth note,
like a dotted eighth kind of thing. But you take each one in a section and you drag them slightly more off as it goes. So you got like the first one's just like slightly longer, and then the second one's a little bit more longer than that one, and then the next one's a little bit more longer. And it feels like it just fucking
drags,
like falls off. It's great.
Oh, it's such a sick vibe, right?
So good.
Yeah.
Fucking that's free.
That's a good one.
But then I'm looking at it next to my kick drum, and it's just not vibing. And I grabbed a couple of them, dragged them even further out, and all of a sudden it's like working.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, huh, it's weird. Like I just needed to make it worse.
The
Almost.
other or
Yeah.
get rid of the kick drum.
Yeah.
Just have it on the one.
I did a lot of that too.
Like,
I did a lot of
on
getting
my
rid of the
drum
kick drums.
On my
Yeah.
drum and bass track, the kick happens on the one, and then it doesn't happen again until like the third measure.
Fuck yeah, let's go. Dude, that's hilarious that you did the same thing. On my drum and bass track, I did a similar thing
goes.
where I had I had like 3 kicks up here in whatever section and then a 4th kick over here. But I wanted the bass line to do a specific thing. And there was a moment where like the sidechain was like cutting it weird and the rhythm was weird for the bass. So it was a moment where I was like, okay, I have to decide, like, do I want this kick here or do I want the bass?
Right.
And I was just like, fuck the kick.
Or do I
It's
want to
way cooler like
spend
this.
many hours on crafting the most perfect sidechain technique?
Yeah.
Right. And at that point,
Side
that's
back.
like
Arrangement is fucking king, baby.
Dude. Yeah.
right. It's kind of like it's not exactly the same as math, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Because math, you have order of operations, which is pretty concrete in terms of like you can't really.
Dude, PEMDAS. PEMDAS. Fucking that's all
But you can't
yeah.
you can't if you do it outside of that, you're fucked. Where in music, like you can not do that and you'll be okay. Like you can figure some shit out, but. Most of the time, like you can create some elaborate sidechain method that makes it so that your arrangement doesn't matter as much as your sidechain does.
Right.
Where in reality, you should just worry about your arrangement first.
Yes.
You should try and just get as many kicks off of your bass as physically possible.
Yeah.
And then worry about your sidechain, because
Especially if you're making hardcore. Just no kick drums at all. Don't even just forget the drums. You know, you don't need anything. You
Get
just
rid of
need noises. You just wow 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 wow
Yeah.
wow 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 wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Fifth.
I made Caleb take 2 dabs before the podcast.
There was no dabs.
He took
taken.
2 half-gram dabs. He's
This
gonna
is just-
deny it, but
This is just dank tacos. They knocked me out.
those tacos did hit.
They hit.
They
Folks,
always do.
This brings us to the end of the podcast.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
I mean-
I have 3 notes right here.
Aaron,
Yeah. Look at those.
happy
is my
Valentine's
favorite
Day.
one.
Thank you.
Energy signature. We have something to look forward to on the next episode, though.
I got
There you
some
go.
more stuff too
Yeah.
for next week, so we're good.
Let's
we're set up.
go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're fucking cooking with grease over here.
Yeah.
Fucking bacon grease, dude.
Baco, thanks for being here. Aaron, thanks for being here.
Thank you guys.
We love you both.
We'll see you guys next week for episode 94.
Everybody else tuning in now or in the future, thank you for being here.
We love you guys.
We love you.